Hey guys. So I just wanted to review you for the academic target. Wanted to do numbers 1 through 10 with you from part 1. Let's see, I'm trying to zoom in to see if that will work. First time doing this. So if you like it, let me know. If you don't, okay. So looking at this first problem. So the first problem, what is the value of x in the equation represented by the model shown? First thing, you can take this model and rewrite it. I have two x's, so I would write 2x. And I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on my left side of my equal sign. On my right side, I have 1, 2, 3, negative 3x. And then I am subtracting 3 ones. And that would be my equation that I'm starting with. From there, I'm setting my left side equal to my right, and I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to box my variables, and I'm going to get rid of my lowest variable. So the least variable, instead of negative 3 would be, or positive 2 would be negative 3. To get rid of the lowest variable, I do the opposite. So instead of subtracting 3x, I would add 3x to both sides. What I'm left with is 2 plus 3 is 5x. I still have 7, but my 3's are gone on the right side. I'm just left with negative 3. So on this step, I would continue. I'm searching for x, but I can't solve for x unless I get x by itself. So I have to subtract for 7. I have to do the inverse. So the inverse of addition is subtraction. I'm left with 5x. My 7's are gone. Equals, well, negative 3 plus negative 7 is negative 10. And then I'm back down to a one-step equation. So instead of multiplying by 5, I would just divide by 5. And I get x is negative 2. Okay. And the next problem, let me scroll through. Number 2, we have a retail store is having a sale on sweaters. The table below shows the original price of the sweaters. Which equation represents the price of the sweaters if they are 25% off the original price? So I'm looking for the 25% off. So to 25% off of my original price, I need to find that out. So 25%, this will be the sale column, which would mean I'm taking 25% off of 24. So 24 times 0.25 would give me 24, fourth of 24 is $6. So I'm taking $6 off. So I want the equation for the price if there's $6 off. So 24 minus 6 is 18. And then I do the same thing, 48 times 0.25, which would be $12 off. So 48 minus 12 is going to be 36. 56 times 0.25 equals, and this is where it gets tough, so I need to go to my calculator. 56 times 0.25, $14 off, which would give me 42. And then 72 times 0.25. 18. So I'm subtracting $18. 12 minus 8 is 4. 7, 6, 5, 54. And then now I have my x and my new y. This is where I would do my slope and y-intercept. Well, how do I get from 3 to 18? How do I go from 3 to 18? Well, 18 divided by 3. I take my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y2 would be 36 minus 18. 6 minus 3. So 36 minus 18 is 18. 6 minus 3 is 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. That means I'm multiplying by 6 to get my sale price. So that would be J. Okay. Number 3. 4 friends are taking an online course on coding. They can complete the course at their own pace. The table below shows their progress. What is the order of the numbers from greatest to least? So I'm going to use my supplemental aid. Ready, set, order. Ready means I need a review, so I'm looking for greatest to least. My set is make them all decimals. So I need to make them all decimals. So I have 0.4. And then I have 3/5. 3/5 is 0.6. 58% is 0.58. 58 hundredths. 5/8. 5 divided by 8. 0.625 or 625 thousandths. So I made them all decimals. And now I can order from greatest to least. So to order, I need to line up my decimals. So I'm going to make my griddable. I have my ones, my decimal, my tenths, my hundredths, my thousandths. So I have 0.4, 0.6, 0.58, 0.625. I'm going to add placeholders. And I'm going to look for the largest number. So the largest number, zeros, they're all the same. 4, 6, 5, 6. So I'm going to go with my sixes. 0 or 2. 2 is larger. So this is my first one. And that would bring Jalen as my second. And then I look. 5 is greater than 4. And this would be my fourth. So the answer choice that states that 5/8 first is A, and that's it. So A is the answer. Okay, next problem. Wait, did I miss one? Yeah, I did. Number 4. Which is not a function. So remember, functions has to pass the vertical line test. That means if it goes through the x value once, it is a yes. If it goes through the x value twice, it is a no. So let me kind of fix that. No. So I'm going to look at my x value. So to do this, I like to use my highlighter, and I highlight just my x values. And I'm going to look for all the x's to be different is a function. If it's not a function, they're going to be the same. So 3, 7, 4, 2. This is a function. 0, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so these are the same. The only way for it to be a function is if the y's were the same. But right now, 5 and 7 are not the same. So it's going to be not a function. 1, 0, 4, 3, function. 6, 2, 5, 1, function. And the question wants not. So that means your answer is G. Okay. Let me go to number 5. Guys, if I'm going too fast, just pause it, rewind. Okay. I'm trying to make this video short and sweet where you can just go as long as you need to. Okay. Everybody works at a different pace. Number 5. Paragraph 2 points on the coordinate plane below. What is the distance between the 2 points rounded to the nearest whole number? So she's graphing these, and you're looking for the distance. Now, if you remember, in Unit 8, we talked about Pythagorean Theorem, and we said that you will get a coordinate plane, you will get 2 points. And you have to make sure it's asking for distance or slope. This time it's called for distance. That means you're going to be using your Pythagorean theorem. So to do that, you have to make it a right triangle. So I'm going to count my spaces, counting by ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this would be C. So I'm now going to plug it into my Pythagorean theorem equation. A is going to be 5 squared. B is 6 squared. And I'm looking for C squared. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 25 plus 36 is 61. But you need C squared. This is C squared. You want C, so you have to do the square root. So C is going to equal, it's going to be a number between 7 and 8, because 8 is 64, and 7 times 7 is 49. So when I'm scrolling through, I have 7 or 8, but it wants to round. So let's look at our final and round up to the nearest whole number. So 61 square root of 7.8. And 8 is greater than 5, so it's going to round up. So the nearest whole number is 8. Oh. Number 6, which we just got a test on it today. Which of the following expressions can be used to find capital B, which is the area of cylinder's base shown below? Well, the base is a circle. So we're going to go to our star chart. And on our star chart, it states that area of a circle is pi radius squared. And so now I'm just going to plug in my numbers from the problem. So I have pi. Instead of radius, I notice it's 7.1 to the power of 2. Now the answer choices isn't asking you to solve it. It's just asking you, what is that formula? So when I'm looking at my answer choices, F is the only one that tells me that. And that is your answer. Okay. Now we're on number 7. Ooh, now we're at slope and y-intercept. Yay! What is the slope and y-intercept of the line shown below? Now, slope. If you remember, you could do this about a couple ways. You can do your rise over your run for slope, or you can use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Your y-intercept is when x is 0. So we like to use the begin and move to help us. Where do I begin on this graph? Well, it touches the y-axis at -5. So that means my B is -5. How much I move is how much I rise over my run. So how much do I rise from this point to run right there. So I make that right triangle. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To the right, 1, 2, 3. So I take my rise and I divide by my run. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So my slope is going to be 2, and it's positive because I'm going up and to the right. And my y-intercept is -5, which is D. Okay. When you have a graph, that begin and move is going to be your easiest bet. It's going to be your less stressful. Let's see. Number 8. Mr. George is purchasing tickets for a school museum visit. The Museum of Natural History charges a $25 group fee plus $5 per student. The Museum of Modern Art charges a group fee of $35 plus $4 per student. To pay the same amount at each museum, how many tickets will Mr. George have to order? Okay, that's a lot of words. So I'm going to go back and read it one sentence at a time. Mr. George is purchasing tickets for a school museum visit. Okay, I'm talking about tickets. Purchasing. So I don't need anything there. Next sentence. The Museum of Natural History charges. So they're charging $25 plus $5 per student. It doesn't tell me how many students. So if I don't know how many students, then that is going to be my X. And then it says the Museum of Modern Art charges a group fee of $35 plus $4 for each student. The last sentence says to pay the same amount. That is telling you that this is an equation. You're setting them both equal to each other. So now we're going to be able to solve for X, for how many tickets he has to order, how many students he can go. So I'm going to go back. I'm looking for X, so I'm going to box my variables. I don't want 2 variables, I just want 1. So I'm going to eliminate the smallest amount. So 5 and 4, the smallest is 4. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And I'm subtracting because it's the opposite, it's the inverse operation. So right now I'm left with 25. Well, 5 minus 4 is 1. X. 35. But the 4s are gone. I'm still looking for X, so I'm just going to box my variable. But I can't do anything to it unless the 25 is gone. I have to get rid of the 25. I have to have the box by itself. So the opposite of a positive 25 is a negative 25. I still have X, but 35 minus 25 is 10. So I know that he can buy 10 tickets, which would be H. Okay, going to number 9. Remember, you can always pause and rewind if you want to go back through that. Number 9, Oscar opened a savings account. Ooh, talking about money. I think money is our simple compound interest. That makes me think of that, so let's keep going. Made an initial deposit of $8,000. He did not make any additional deposits. The account earns a 3% annual simple interest. How much interest will Oscar earn at the end of 5 years? Keyword, simple interest, vocabulary word. That takes you to your star reference chart. So we go to our reference chart, and our formula says that I equals P times R times T. Well, our P is our principal. That's the original amount we start with in this problem. So the initial deposit of $8,000, I believe that's $8,000 is our principal. Our interest rate, it's going to be a percent, but if you remember, this 3% has to divide by 100 because we have to have it as a decimal. So 3 divided by 100 is 300. And then the T stands for your time. Well, they told us 5 years, so T is 5. At this stage, we take what we know and we plug it back into our equation. Interest equals 8,000 times 0.03 times 5. Well, with that being said, I'm now going to type that in my calculator. And I'm going to go home, my calculator, 8,000 times 0.03 times 5. And I get $1,200. That is how much interest earned. So the answer is $1,200. And now we're on the last problem. Number 10. A local manufacturer makes fitness balls of different sizes. One of its largest fitness balls is shown below. What is the volume of the fitness ball rounded to the nearest hundredth? So with that being said, volume, and this is a sphere, I'm going to go to my reference materials, and I'm going to write down my formula from our star chart. So the formula from the star chart is 4/3, volume equals 4/3, pi r cubed. So the only thing I need to find is r. So I see a circle in the middle. So I'm going to draw my circle, and it says this whole line is 4. If you remember that the line across is called the diameter. If I want the radius, I take half of it. So half of 4 is 2. Now that I know my radius, I can plug it into my equation. Volume equals 4/3 times pi times 2 cubed. Now, if you don't have a calculator at home, the TI Inspire, you can, or a graphing calculator, you can use pi as 3.14. Okay, and for those at home, I'm going to go ahead and do that as well so you can see what it would be. So I'm going to go in. I have 3.14 times, but I have times in 2 3 times. So times 2 times 2 times 2. But when you're multiplying by a fraction, that means I'm multiplying by 4 and at the end dividing by 3. So since I'm going to use this 2-step calculator, which most people have at home, that means I'm going to multiply by 4. I'm going to hit enter, but then I'm going to divide it by 3. And I get 33.49. Which is your answer. Okay. If you have any more questions, please ask me in class. I'm hoping this kind of helps you at home when you're studying for your academic target next week. This is my first time doing this live. So if anything comes wrong or there's glitches, please let me know in class so I can fix it for tomorrow. Because tomorrow I want to do the next part. Okay. Enjoy, guys. I hope this helps.